Based on the series of meetings that we had over the 2.5 months and the research and study that the Regents were committed to, the Regents made certain findings and recommendations. It first of all recognized the complexity of the issues related to Mauna Kea, and that Mauna Kea had become a symbol of Native Hawaiian self-determination. It also recognized that the university was criticized for past and present mismanagement of Mauna Kea. The MIG recognized that this board, has the ultimate and primary responsibility to fulfill and carry out all of the recommendations, obligations, and duties identified in the Mauna Kea Science Reserve Master Plan, the Mauna Kea Comprehensive Plan, Cultural Resources Management Plan, and other management plans relating to the natural resources and the care of Mauna Kea. The Permitted Interaction Group recognized the need to collectively do better with regard to efficiency, effectiveness, and transparency in the functional structure of Mauna Kea management, and this should be undertaken with urgency while considering the perspective of multiple stakeholders. We recognize that Mauna Kea is a special place to all of Hawaii, including the Native Hawaiian cultural practices, and needed to be acknowledged in the planning and use of Mauna Kea for the future. Since the posting of the recommended resolution, we were contacted by some of the stakeholders, including Caltech, the Mauna Kea Observatory directors, the Mauna Kea Management Board, and Big Island constituency with regard to the resolution, who offered very constructive comments about how the resolution could be improved. The MEG, or Mauna Kea Interaction Group, agreed that certain changes should be made and therefore an amendment to the resolution was appropriate.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the resolution with revisions. So the revisions, I'll try to walk through them one by one. Paragraph 1, 2, and 3 of the resolution refer to deadlines of April 2021, and I would propose that that date in all 3 paragraphs be revised to December 31st, 2021. Paragraph 4 refers to Euclid telescope, and paragraph 5 refers to VLBA telescopes. And I would propose that we delete those 2 paragraphs and replace them with language that's similar but a little different, and says, "Honor by December 30th, 2025, a determination will be made on decommissioning of 3 additional observatory sites based on compliance with existing or future permits or governmental approvals. If decommissioning is required, the 3 observatory sites will be identified and reported to the Board of Regents by January 2026. The other additions are to renumbered paragraph 8, and it is to add a requirement that reorganization and restructuring plan regarding management of Mauna Kea will be conducted in a manner that includes Mauna Kea Management Board, Kahuku Mauna, and members of the Hawaii Island community. And paragraph 9 would add a similar requirement that the analysis of alternative management mechanisms would require consultation with MKMB, Kahuku Mauna, members of Hawaii Island Community, Imiloa, and the Mauna Kea observatories and community stakeholders. That's a summary of the motion with revised language.
Most of the testimony that we got today from the meeting this morning and this afternoon regarding the reso was this was not discussed with any community groups or stakeholders prior to being published, along with 1,686 other pages of stuff this afternoon or six days ago. So I think it'd be appropriate to defer this so that, particularly because we've got a motion in front of us to pass a resolution that the rest of the public hasn't seen yet. So I think it's appropriate to defer it and let people weigh in on the specifics of this.
I like the fact that we're making the change to include what the testimony was today, the community, more so, and stakeholders. I'm just concerned that this might be, and I don't want to make it sound like it's too vague, but are we sure we're including all of the people that they're talking about? Now, I'm not saying we got to have 1,000 people sitting around the table trying to work through these issues, but are we sure we're going to get the selection of community? Have they offered to us that this is the groups we'd like sitting with you when we talk?
We're leaving it up to administration and the people up, that are managing the mountain to determine who the Big Island representatives would be, in addition to the observatories and the Imiloa Center and all of the other parties that are named in there. So we did include that catch-all.
I'm supportive of the modifications that have been made to the resolution, but I'm also somewhat sensitive to the National Science Foundation's criticisms.
National Science Foundation, Claire Blanco, from the General Counsel's office, had written a letter of concern because we had mentioned in paragraphs 4 and 5 the VLBA and the, what's the other one? UCURT.
Yeah.
Okay, and the National Science Foundation funds some of those, okay? So they were concerned about the future of those. So at the suggestion of Mr. Simons, I called Claire Blanco yesterday and had a long conversation with her. I gave her the suggested language that is substituted for paragraphs 4 and 5. And she said that is okay with her. That is, it was in the direction that she wanted, which is that the decision will be determined by the observatories themselves as to who goes next and whatever, if appropriate. And that's all she wanted to make that, that they were incorporated into that decision-making process. And the way we've set it up is they will be. They're making the determination, not us. So she's fine.
Other than the language about hukukea, everything in the reso is stuff that really is happening or should it be happening already, and that this is just the board maybe adding some teeth to what our expectations are for those things. I want to thank you for the leeway you gave our community and for testimony, and I know it made for a long day for us, and that a lot of it was scolding, felt like a scolding, but I think it was important for me, and I hope my colleagues appreciate the depth of the hurt and trauma that not only our testifiers, but folks they represent are experiencing. So I am a little nervous about, even though I'm supportive of the resolution, I'm nervous that if we pass it with the amendments, that the narrative will be, we didn't hear anyone. Right on. So for me, I guess I would like to consider the deferral or a more extensive conversation about why the language changes matter beyond the folks who we engaged with. I mean, I give them credit for reading it and expressing their concerns, and I appreciate you very much for being responsive to it. I think it's an improvement to the reso. But for those folks who just didn't have the means to do that, they're working, that's what I heard, they're working, they're going to school. I don't want them to feel like it was a done deal.
I'd also like to see that we have some flexibility in how we decide who the community stakeholders are, more than just leaving that up to the University of Hawaii Hilo or some entity, but find a way to get a diverse group of people to participate.
I think it's important for us to realize that we need to get something started here, and that's what the purpose is in regard to the duties that we have and instruction to our administration to move on improving our management capabilities and the job that we've done on the mountain. So that's really the purpose behind it. It's our instruction to the administration. It's not anything else. The first vote is on the amendment, then the vote is on the resolution itself. So all in favor of the amendments as proposed by Regent Sullivan, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Regent Sullivan, you have to make the
Move to adopt the resolution as amended.
Second.
seconded. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the resolution as amended?
Chair, I'm going to abstain, not because I'm opposed to the resolution. I think it's good that we move forward, but I'm concerned about the changes that we've made have not had any opportunity for review by the public. And I think if we
Thank you.
waited 2 weeks, I'd be happy.
All right.
So I will abstain.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? One abstention.